Hey everyone, Irit here with a new process video for Hip Kit Club, and today I'm playing with mixed media, gesso, paint, mists, the whole shebang. And I was inspired by this mood board, especially the image on the bottom left corner. That's where I got the idea to cut these 4 doilies from cardstock. So the doily it's like a cut file. It's a cut file from the exclusive cut files this month. I'm not sure if this is subscriber exclusive, but go to the Hip Kit Club website and create an account. It's completely free. And then you will have access to free cut files every month. And if you subscribe, then you will get even more cut files. So that's where I got this cut file. Of course, if you don't have an electronic die cutting machine, you could use doilies or just cut circles. That would work too. I actually manipulated a little bit the cut file. I got rid of some of the detail and just kept the pattern on the outside just to speed up the cutting process. So that's that image that I showed you in the beginning from the mood board. That was the inspiration, but you could totally do a layout using the same sort of composition as you can see in that image, which is just the 4 circles, arranged symmetrically across your layout. And that would be, I guess, a variation of a grid design, which would also look fantastic. But this is more my thing. I prefer things layered, and that's what I wanted to do. So I started with the mood board, and it totally inspired this. I never would have come up with this design if it weren't for that image. So I also channeled my inner Missy, and I used gesso. I used my fingers, and so I spread the gesso just to have a better surface to add all the paints on top, and also to kind of blur out a little bit the edges of these doilies, which I don't think I could have used more to do that, more gesso. But I think it got to a place where I was happy about it. You can still see a lot of the color, but it's a little bit blurred out in certain areas. So first I'm going to go in with these Prima paints that came in the February color kit. Everything I'm using is from the February kits. You can find all the details of this kit on the Hip Kit Club website. And so I'm starting with these paints, and then I'm going to add some mists. And again, use what you have. You don't need any of the materials that I'm using. You can do this with any type of paint. You can do this with any kind of watercolor. You can use stamping inks. Just, press a bit of that ink onto some slick surface, add some water, and use that as your paint. Anything goes. And of course, what I'm doing is some tone on tone action here. I love that look, and I just had so much fun. I went, rainbow order from the pink, yellow, mint, blue, and then I'm doing my tone on tone, so it was all good. And the paint looked nice, definitely, but I just got started. I love that watercolor stained type of look. I live for that look. That's totally my jam. Yes, I'm gonna use, I don't think I've ever used that expression. But yeah, so I grabbed a few of my little shimmer mists from previous color kits. Use whatever you have, and I'm just going to build up the color. Add some blue. We didn't get a blue paint, so I definitely needed some kind of blue medium to add that. It would have looked weird if, the pink, the yellow, and the mint had all this paint on them and then the blue had nothing. So on the blue, I just used mist, and you can see it all works together. It's just about that layering and that dimension, you know, having a bit deeper colors in certain areas. I mean, the whole thing is still very bright because, you know, it's me, but I definitely pay attention to having areas with some more contrast, especially around the edges of the doilies. Really get some paint in there, and it looks more interesting when there's that difference in saturation of color. It gives it depth and interest. And yeah, this was, you know, the most fun part of making this layout. I mean, the whole thing was fun, but this was probably the best part, just playing with mists like they were watercolor. I didn't actually spray directly anything on my layout. I just sprayed them on that little piece of packaging and either smooshed them or splattered them, or, you know, added them with a brush for a bit more controlled effect. So I let everything dry, and I actually mounted the whole thing on top of another piece of cardstock because it did buckle a little bit, and I just wanted it to be a bit straighter so I could work on it more properly or more easily. And after debating which title to go for, I'm really bad with titles, and consulting my title assistant, no, my human title generator, also known as Tanya, I decided to go with this: create a beautiful story. And obviously the limitation here was that tone on tone situation. So I needed to use the words that match my title in the correct place. And yeah, so for my brain, that's a big job, but Tanya handled it well, and there we go. So the photo I'm using, it's an older photo of Lily that I printed. The photo is probably from 2 years ago. And yeah, she's super cute and babyish. And she's 3 now, more than 3. She turned 3 in December. And that photo is old. I'm really trying to use up stuff, and that includes photos that I printed and never scrapped. And I do really appreciate the perspective of scrapbooking older photos. You know, it gives you, besides the fact that I'm using something I already have and I'm not printing anything new, which of course there's nothing wrong with it, but I have so many photos that I haven't scrapped. So I'm trying to find that balance between scrapping current photos, which I love, and then using up some already printed photos. But you also get that opportunity to reflect a little bit. And don't worry, I don't get too deep, but it's nice to look at these old photos and think about how older photos, it's just from 2 years ago, it's not exactly ancient. Think about how things were then. And for us, you know, Lily was home then with me, and she stayed home for almost 2 years before she went to daycare. And she goes to daycare like for a few hours a day. And it was just like different times, you know. She was really baby-ish and like a baby, not babyish. She was just a baby. And now she's walking, talking. There's like all this personality. We're always amazed like how such a small person can have so much personality. And yeah, it's just like nice to reflect on those times. So you can see me just going through the stuff and trying to embellish again in a way that works. And I just keep adding stuff. I keep adding and I keep adding, and until I find, you see, I was really debating. I felt like on one hand I wanted to layer that word story on top of the little piece of pink doily that I have there at the bottom of the page. But then on the other hand, I think it looks a bit weird, and I prefer to keep my title all kind of together. So that's going to win, and I'll just add some more embellishments to that bit of pink doily at the bottom. And you see that bit of pink doily and then the blue one at the top are just the offcuts that I had left when I cut the original doilies, because they're kind of going a bit over the page, which is the look that I like. I think it just looks a bit more organic, and that's how I like it. Now, I would probably, usually I would probably trim this down a bit, my background. And if you want to do that, you know, you should keep those little extra bits until you do that, because otherwise you might have to cut down too much of them. And I usually like to do that to kind of frame my layout, but I have to admit that in this case I didn't do this because I knew this was a design team project and I needed a straight photo, and because my paper buckled a little bit from all the mixed media, it's sometimes hard to take a really straight photo and get that border around all of the layout to look straight and not wonky. So in this case I didn't do it, but probably it's one of those things, you know, I learned it from Vilna and I absolutely love how that looks. Just trimming down a bit your background with all the mixed media and all the mess, and then backing it with some pattern paper. There are such beautiful patterns in this month's kit, and there would have been tons of options. But yeah, in this case, I kept it as it is. And, you know, that gave me a little bit more real estate to work on, because nothing was trimmed and I had my whole 12 by 12 background, and there's a lot going on here. So yeah, I guess that was a good decision. Okay, trying to add more embellishments. And of course, this goes all by color. Yeah, I don't like that little happy heart today because it's a bit too dark from everything else that I have going on. So it's not going to stay there. But yeah, I'm just going through all the embellishments. There are such beautiful embellishments. My favorite are the crate paper stuff with those hearts and the puffy stickers. I wanted to add some of these fabric banners that we got from Pink Fresh Studio, and I didn't want the whole thing. That was like a little bit large, so I'm totally manipulating it. This thing is double-sided. You can cut into it. It's from the soft fabric. I cut into it, then I made it smaller. So everything you get in the kits, like even embellishments that seemed like finished and you could just add them to your layout, you could, of course, if that works for your design, but if it doesn't, you can totally manipulate them and make them work for you. So in this case, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I tore into this banner, I separated the two layers, and now I'm just trimming it down because it was too big for my needs. And I love that extra texture. I really, that's one of the things that I love about the kits and that I love doing in a layout, just having those different kind of embellishments. And, you know, here I have my papers in the background, and then I have a few paper embellishments, and then we have the chipboard and the puffy stickers in the title and that wood button and the shaker stickers. And then I'm adding some of these fabric banners. So I just really love that combo of different textures. And I'm trying also to add a few bits and pieces from the Cartabella chipboard phrases that we got and just dotting that through. When you do something like this, you know, with gesso and paint and all that stuff, you want to make sure you use a good adhesive and the things are stuck down properly. You don't want this falling apart. So yeah, make sure you do that. Now I'm going into some more of the puffy stickers. These are like the little embellishments that come with the Pink Fresh Studio words that I used on my title. I love it when companies do that they also add embellishments to their word or phrase packs, because I would usually use both of these on my layouts. So it's nice to have that option. And yeah, I'm totally fiddling. I'm cutting into those little puffy flowers and then cutting them in half, and then I can use them in two separate places. You can take a look at the close-up shots you'll see a bit better all the detail. I know it's hard to see every little thing from above here. And yeah, there I go, cutting again into these cute little puffy flowers and dotting them around my layout. Also just trying to figure out what goes where. And this is just, it was just so much fun. This layout was so much fun. You know, I think with everyone, some layouts we really, really love and then others not so much. And this is just, it's so me. It's me with a little bit of Missy sprinkled around, because I probably wouldn't have gone in so heavy with the gesso and all that stuff. I probably just splattered some paint if I wasn't channeling my inner Missy. Probably because I'm lazy, and she puts like so much detail into her work, and I'm always in awe of that. I just, you know, I want to get things done, and I don't have the patience to wait for things to dry or think. Thinking is hard. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this. I hope you feel inspired to play. This month, I know we're almost in the middle of March, but this month I will be posting my layouts in the member forum, which is on Facebook. If you haven't joined us, it's completely free. You don't need to subscribe to the kits. You don't need anything. That's another thing I love about Hip Kits. Inspiration is available for everyone, and the community is open for everyone. Join us, share your work, whether you're using the kits or not, it doesn't matter. We just want to, you know, have that community feel, inspire each other, get those memories into albums, and play with pretty paper and embellishments. So make sure you join the member forum, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.